Chatting with Chad is the place to be. Every day at 7 p.m. turn on your TV. You might see some things that you never see, but at the end of the day, it's reality. We talk about things that's good and bad, but it always stay good when you're chatting with Chad. We got spirit, got soul, got uplifting things, but you'll always be happy with the joy he brings. He's one of those guys, he's one of a kind. Any problems that you have, just keep them in mind. Before you know, he'll be there right by your side. It's almost like he's a spirit sent from the sky. It's the chatting with Chad. It's the chatting with Chad. It's the chatting with Chad. It's the chatting with Chad.
The Chad with Chad Show.
Eliza Kempner Quigley, a fifth-generation Galvestonian, recently took the helm of leadership as the executive director of Galveston's ISD Educational Foundation. While at the UT School of Social Work, she specialized in administration and planning and took courses at the RGK Center for Philanthropy and Community Service. So welcome to the show, Eliza.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So what is it that you do
I am
for GISD?
I am the executive director of the Galveston ISD Educational Foundation. So I run the operations of the foundation. I do all the fundraising and the marketing. I work directly with the board and help raise funds that are awarded to teachers and schools through our grants program.
Is that the same as a grant writing?
Yes.
Funds. What type of grants are available to GISD?
There are 3 types of grants available to GISD teachers and employees through the Educational Foundation, and there are grants to teachers, grants to teams, or grants to campuses. And then we also do district-wide initiatives.
Oh. How much money, I often wondered, how much money can a school actually get from a grant?
Well, for a grant to a teacher, it's up to $1,000. For a team grant, it's up to $3,000. And for a campus or school site grant, it's up to $5,000. So it can be any of those amounts and under for a school or a team. So if you're a team of English teachers or a science department, someone can be a project coordinator and submit the grant for the entire team or department. Or if you are an individual teacher and you would like to supplement something in your classroom for curriculum or supplies, you can write a grant individually. The Educational Foundation primarily supports grant requests for projects that are not covered in school or district budgets. So the philanthropic dollars that are raised go to support things that are not initially covered or primarily covered by the district or a school budget.
Wow. So does it take a lot of time to write a grant? If so, how much time does it take to prepare for a grant proposal?
Well, I host a grant writing workshop every semester.
Do you?
So when about 2 weeks after the school starts, each semester I announce information about upcoming grant application deadlines, as well as when the grant writing workshops are held. And it really depends on the teacher or the team. I also tell people not to be intimidated by the word grant, because it really is a simple application and it's a request for funds.
Yeah.
And I really encourage the teachers to write the application as if the reader does not know what they're asking for, because the people that review the grant requests on the board may or may not know or understand the educational language that they may be using or the curriculum. So it's important to write it in almost a layman's terms.
That's important.
Very
so
important.
So in layman's terms, that means simple, correct?
Very simple, and then also have someone read it who doesn't know what you're asking for. Just kind of have a friend or a family member who knows that you're a teacher or you're doing something in a school, and kind of have them read it to give you feedback on whether or not it may make sense to them.
Who are some of the educators and administrators that are within this district that forms the grant writing team?
It varies school by school,
Does it?
and teacher by teacher. So some schools will appoint, they'll work with their principal to identify a need at the school for like a pre-K classroom or for all first grade reading. And one person will write the grant with 3 other people. Or in this last semester, we had 2 principals submit grant applications on behalf of their schools. So it's not so defined where the district or teachers are pigeonholed into what they can or cannot do or ask for. What we really try to support and encourage is that principals work closely with their teachers and vice versa, so that they can ask for things that they need. Because of the financial issues at the state and at the legislative level, budgets are so tight, and it's really important that teachers ask for things that they need to make their classroom a better learning style that can fit different students and how they learn, or that can make their curriculum more exciting to students. And the Educational Foundation funds, of course, all the core curriculum requests, depending on how they're written and if they like them, but also the arts as well.
Are they always granted? You think about education, you think that the grants are always granted to education, but are they always granted though?
Yes, there has to be an argument for academic enrichment in the grant request. So whatever the funds are being asked for, there has to be an initiative and a need that is going to improve a student and a teacher, but primarily the student's learning. And students can learn in many different ways, and it's not always directly out of a textbook. You know, it can be tactile or visual, auditory, and technology is so important now. So not every grant is funded, to answer your question, and it really depends on how the grant requests are written and how the grant review committee feels about them. And because the board is made up of volunteers, and then the grant review committee are board members that volunteer to review the grants. For example, last semester we had approximately 32 requests totaling about $83,000. This semester we had almost 40 grant proposals, grant requests, over $100,000 in requests. So we've seen a significant increase in requests from teachers, and we've seen a great improvement in the quality of the writing as well. And so this semester, the Educational Foundation Board is awarding more money than it's awarded in one semester in many years. And that's going to happen this week.
Since the fall of 2011, the foundation has raised over $200,000 in just a year and a half, with almost $100,000 given in 2012 to 2013 school year, which is more than the board was able to obtain ever. The board is choosing to support balanced illiteracy in all grades. What are the key components to writing a grant proposal?
I would say for this board, the most important things that they look at is a justification of need, that the writer is really able to explain why they're asking for the items and how that is going to impact students in the classroom. And they also look very closely at the budget, that it's not just a shopping spree for a teacher,
Right.
that the teacher has really taken the time to critique the application and explain to the reader why these items are so important. And it can be, you know, equipment for a science lab, goggles, safety equipment. It can be pre-K things that help the little ones learn their alphabet more quickly, colors, numbers. So the foundation funds things as small as $200, as great as $5,000 and $6,000.
Wow. Can you apply for more than one grant program at a time for the same academic program? Or can you apply for the same grant can you apply for more than one grant for the same academic program?
Well, what we did this year is we simplified the grant application, so now there's only one application. So whatever 3 grant choices you have and you choose, it's the same application. And the other thing that the grant committee did this year was they created a fact sheet and a guideline sheet to further explain what the grant application process is and what the important things that a teacher or a team or a school needs to do. So I recommend that as well, which is on our website. A school can apply for multiple grants, and a teacher can apply for multiple grants, but they may not be awarded all of the grants. But there are many times that we award 3, 4, or more grants at one school, but some of them may be to one teacher, some of them may be to a team, or for an entire school. So, but if you have been funded in the prior year and you're in the funding cycle when the grant applications are being reviewed, you can't be awarded again. So if you were awarded in the fall, you can't apply again until next fall because you're still in the process of your current award.
Okay. How long does it take to receive, once you applied, how long does it take to receive this grant that you apply for?
As soon as the grant announcements are made and the grant deadline is given and I receive the grants, it's usually a 2 or 3 week turnaround between the time that I receive the grants and that they're reviewed by the committee, and then we make the awards. And then when I give you the award, when the board gives the award, you receive a letter and it has an account code in it. And so the account codes are preloaded with your amount. So if you've written a grant for $3,000, but you're only awarded $1,500, your account code will be loaded with $1,500 amounts. And then there's a whole process of ordering and approving the purchase orders. And the Educational Foundation has the final approving measure on those orders, just to make sure that the funds are being expended exactly how they were intended to be spent.
How does Galveston Independent School District Foundation helps specifically for, how does it help?
Well, since its inception, which it was founded 11 years ago, it has awarded over $2 million in grants and a district-wide initiative as well for advanced placement, AP strategies. And really, it's almost a catch-all to meet teacher needs and student needs that district and campus funds are not available for. For the arts, for the sciences, for math, for reading, for special ed. If you lived in a wealthier school district, a lot of the things that the Ed Foundation funds might be already accommodated to a student in a classroom. Whereas in Galveston, we are a Robin Hood district, so a lot of the money that we get from the state ends up going back to the state. So
Oh,
that
really?
students don't see some of those dollars that are very important. And so the Educational Foundation, I think, plays a critical role in supporting student needs in the classroom and enriching education and academic growth, where the district isn't always able to do that. And really, it's the support of philanthropic dollars that meet that goal. We have a very strong community in Galveston that supports the Educational Foundation. And my goal coming in a year and a half ago was really to take the Educational Foundation to the next level, to expand its donor base, and to really tell the story of the teachers and the students, so that the community sees more of the wonderful work that's being done by the students and the teachers, and that the Educational Foundation helps fund.
How do you raise the money to give to teachers? How do you raise that money?
Well, it's interesting because as the teachers write grants, I also write grants. So I write grants to foundations and proposals to private individuals to solicit dollars to support the Educational Foundation, that we in turn award money to the teachers for their grant proposals. And we also host a couple of fundraisers a year. And in fact, we have our annual spring event coming up April 12th at Moody Gardens Visitor Center Atrium at 7 p.m. And our goal is to have at least 300 people in attendance. And it's a traditional fundraiser where you have food and a silent auction and music, and we highlight the grants that we have awarded over the past year. So we will have student artwork on display, and we will have some of the science grants that the foundation has supported on display. And we're working very closely this year with the district on their goals and their academic needs. And so when I go to donors and I go to foundations, I try to work really closely with the board, with the Educational Foundation board, and as well as the school district, like the superintendent and his team, to be able to go to donors and say, the Educational Foundation is working hand in hand with the district to support their academic needs, which are, literacy or technology or improving math scores. And then when teachers write grants, we try to fund grants that are in line with that.
Right. So out of all things, Eliza, why did you choose this field?
Well, my background is actually is in art history. That was my first career. And then I have a master's degree in social work. And when I was in graduate school, I kept thinking about Galveston because I grew up here, and how could I make a difference in the town I came from. And I didn't think I would come back to Galveston when I did, and I decided that I didn't want to do clinical social work anymore. And really my heart was in community outreach and putting the right people and the players to the right project. So really kind of bringing all the pieces together. And I found that I had a knack for that. And when this position became available, I was at another nonprofit doing development. And I really find that one of the biggest barriers for poverty is education. And I believe that through education, people can move to the next stage in life. And Galveston has a high level of poverty. And so I like using my skill set to make a difference by helping raise dollars that can impact change in education for kids, no matter what their socioeconomic status. But that's kind of how I came to this position, and then have been really excited to be here. And I feel like the Educational Foundation plays a huge role in improving Galveston and the lives of students in Galveston. And we're really here for the teachers and the students, and I don't know if people realize that that is our primary purpose.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you have it, people. This is the Chatting with Chat show. You were just introduced to the phenomenal Eliza Kempner Quigley, the grant writer, phenomenal woman. Okay, if you ever want to write a grant, speak simple, write simple, and you will get your grant requested. Okay, everybody, until we meet again, bye-bye.
You better wipe your tears, give God all your things. See, life is not easy, but times get hard. Keep your head up, stay strong, and have faith in God. He's straight out of detail, born and raised where it goes now. He came from the bottom, but look where he at now. Long as you believe, then you will achieve. Don't ever let nobody come between you and your dreams. It's the Chatting with Chat.
Chat with Chad Show.